when we came to the conclusion, like, I can't have the baby, in fact my life is in danger and I have to go for surgery that day, I zoned out. Not I zoned out, but I tuned out. Welcome back to my channel. If it is your first time here, karibu sana. Thank you for clicking on this video. My name is Dora, but I go by the name Jesus Girl or JG. I just want to ask you to kindly subscribe down below and join the notification gang so that each time I upload a video, you will be early rather than late. You can also follow me on Instagram. That's jesusgirl.ke, because I have a lot of stuff that goes on there as well. My gosh, let's get into today's video. I get so many DMs and so many messages because I only touched on it like brashly when I was sharing my story of what really happened with the ectopic pregnancy that I had. How was I able to find healing? Of late, or since I opened my YouTube channel, I've done videos or created content that's just been light, you know, just funny videos and yeah, all about entertainment and stuff. And recently I just felt challenged to really speak on heart matters, heart issues. It's good to laugh, and I'm not saying we won't be having just funny content as well on here, as well as like beauty and all this stuff, but I would really love it if I could encourage somebody, I could give someone hope, I could have impact beyond just, you know, the face value stuff. I want to set the context of what happened just leading up to actually even getting myself in that situation. So I was 19 years old. This was in the year 2014, right? Because I'm 25 right now. So I was 19 years old, and yeah, I was 2 years into a 6-year relationship. So the relationship turned out to be 6 years, but at this point we'd been dating for 2 years. I just started experimenting with drugs and with alcohol. At the time I was smoking weed and I was drinking. So my parents had seen it fit for me to go into a rehab. I ended up going to 4 rehabs, but that's a story for another day. But at this point, 2 years into the relationship and in my first rehab. Now this rehab was a 3-month program. But after 2 months, me and my friend decided, you know what, that's it for us. We're gonna run away and we're gonna leave the program. So one night after 2 months into the program, we decided to escape. It was a late night. I think we'd even managed to get liquor into the rehab, so we had that, you know, that false confidence, and so we did that. We left for the night, and I ended up meeting with my boyfriend at the time. Yeah, and so that night happened. You know what happens to make it happen. That happened. But the next day my mom was like, you know what, Dora, just go back into the program. You only have 1 month to go, 1 month to finish. Why don't you just go back, finish the 1 month, and at least you can say you truly completed what you started. And so I listened to her and I went back into the program. Now when I was just about to finish that last month, I noticed I didn't get my period. And I am somebody who I have regular periods. Like, it never skips, it's never late, it's not one of those haphazard menstrual cycles. It's very on time. And so when I didn't see my period, I was just like, that's interesting. And it's about 1 month since, you know, I last did the thing. Yeah. And so I had a counselor there who was very close to me. He and I used to share a lot, and I found that I could confide in him about a lot of stuff. So I approached him and I said, you know what, I I don't know what's going on because my period is late. I've missed my period. It's late. And can you get me a pregnancy test just in case? Now, I didn't have any other symptoms, so it wasn't something where I was throwing up and it was like a tall tale sign of like something is wrong, like a combination of symptoms. It was just the missed period. I was completely fine, no sickness, no ailments, no nothing. And so it was a 50-50 chance. I was just thinking, oh, maybe this is just one of those times that it actually was late or had a different, because I was like, oh, maybe I'm going through a lot. Anyway, I took the test, and guys, obviously it was positive. It was as positive can get. You know, sometimes it's like those two faint lines where you're like, hey, let me try another and let me. But this was like very pronounced, 2 red lines right off the bat. And at this point I was numb. Let me say that. I wasn't happy, I wasn't sad, I wasn't, there wasn't like an extreme of either two. I was just there like, okay. And I wasn't shocked as well, because I knew what it takes to make a baby. So it's not that I was like, how, where, when. My counselor asks me, what are you gonna do? Are you going to keep the baby? What's your plan of action? So I decided to wait to get home, because now I was just basically done with the program. Wait to get home and talk to my then boyfriend about it. And when I talked to him about it, his reaction was just like, oh, okay. And he was kind of like, he wasn't shocked, obviously, but he was like very, he warmed up to it right off the bat. And so his being comfortable with it made me also comfortable with it. So I wasn't feeling like, oh my gosh, like we're freaking out. I now started to become excited, and he started to become excited, and we accepted it as our new reality, that this is going to be happening in about 7.5 months, because now a month and a half had passed by. We acknowledged that in about 7.5 months we're going to be parents. Even if he was 24 and I was 19, we accepted it as is. And so I went on to tell my mom. My mom wasn't like, my mom is not somebody of extreme emotions, like she's going to just like fly off the handle and be like, oh my gosh. She was very mellow about it, very calm. That just helped me settle it in my mind that, hey, I'm going to be a mom in a few months, and that's it. It is what it is. About a week and a half after, I began to experience abdominal cramps. And I don't really like to call them abdominal cramps, because it was way worse than your regular menstrual cramps. It came periodically, so there were times when it was there were times when it was not there, and so I was just like, maybe this is normal. Alongside that, I was spotting, or I was bleeding. If you're familiar with some pregnancy symptoms or early pregnancy happenings, for lack of a better word, then you'll know that bleeding or spotting is not totally unheard of. I was going through that, and at first I was able to brush it off, but the more time was going on, I think a couple of days, the pain intensified, the bleeding did too, and guys, it got to a point where the pain was so bad. The pain was excruciating. I couldn't even walk, like I was carried, like that's how bad it was. I couldn't even walk. And we decided, hey, we have to go to the hospital. So my boyfriend took me to the hospital. We went to Karen Hospital. I remember it was late night. That whole day I had been through so much pain. That night we went to Karen Hospital. They ran a couple of tests. I can't remember exactly what, but they came to the conclusion that I was pregnant, but everything was okay. And so I went home that night. But after a while, like just a few hours, the pain now came back like ×2 of anything I had ever felt before. And those people who are familiar with ectopic pregnancy symptoms, they say that the cramps or the abdominal pain you go through is likened to labor pains. So there I am, like basically going through pain that is equivalent to labor pains, and I have no idea what is going on. I'm not taking any medication. I'm just feeling like I'm about to die, literally. And so we go back to Nairobi Hospital, not to Karen, now we go to Nairobi Hospital at Galleria. They're able to run some comprehensive tests, let me just say that, and obviously now they find that it is an ectopic pregnancy. When the news came that it was an ectopic pregnancy, first of all, I didn't know what it was, and so they were explaining. So I'm like, can I have the baby? Can I not have the baby? What's going on? Yeah, they had to brief me on what was going on. And I think at that time, when we came to the conclusion, like, I can't have the baby, in fact my life is in danger and I have to go for surgery that day, I zoned out. Not I zoned out, but I tuned out. I think I knew that, like, I was going to be too overwhelmed, and so instead of, like, even thinking about it or what was going on, I was just in, like, my own world. The guy I was with, I remember him even crying in my hospital room, but me, I was just in a state where it was like, yeah, just not acknowledging really what was going on. And so they rushed me into theater that same day, that same evening. In fact, from the Nairobi Hospital in Galleria, I just got in an ambulance, went over to the main Nairobi Hospital in Hurlingham, and they prepared me for theater because I went in that night. I was put under, and the procedure is this, guys. I'll just briefly tell you. It's 2 pipes that go into both sides of your abdomen. These pipes have mini cameras that are able to, that are reflecting on, like, TVs or screens, so that it directs them where to go and what to suction and, yeah, all that. So I go through the procedure, I come out, and about an hour and a half later, I'm being wheeled out, and I remember coming back to consciousness, becoming conscious again, and my boyfriend was there, my mom. So yeah, from then on I just numbed. I was there for 3 days recuperating and just recovering, and after 3 days I went home. I was just told to be on bed rest, to take it easy, and yeah, I did not acknowledge what was going on. I did not allow myself to feel anything. I did not allow myself to just address everything that was going on. So I'm just like, let's keep it pushing. Like, I don't have time to stop and think and be like, blah, 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 blah. But little did I know, obviously all the feelings were going on internally and in my mind, and I was building stuff up, but I was just not expressing it. Do you ever go through a situation where you're just like, you pretend it's not even happening so that you don't have to address the emotions and the hurt and pain that you have towards it? So I'm able to pinpoint that after that ectopic pregnancy, like, my drug habits, everything that I used to do that was bad or negative just spiraled. Whether we choose to accept it or not, situations, if not addressed, can lead to destructive behavior and can lead to just like an expression of hurt in the wrong ways, you know, as opposed to crying or talking about it. Now I was doing like the most reckless stuff, and I had so much resentment and unforgiveness and bitterness, but I didn't even allow myself to acknowledge that. Now fast forward to 2018, where I went into rehab. From the year 2018 November it was to 2019 November, it was the first time like I'd been completely sober in like 7 years. So obviously I now was being filled with all the memories. You know, you're able to have recollective thoughts or memories about things or traumatic times and just struggles or issues you've gone through. And I found myself going through a healing process, although at the time I didn't even know it was a healing process. I'm only now able to look back and say, you know what, having gone through this, these are the things that happened that acted as steps in my healing process, and I just want to share that with you real quick. So number one is the fact that I acknowledge that it actually happened. For such a long time I was just like, what, huh, it never happened. And I came to terms with the reality that this was a situation that I had gone through. This was an experience that I had, and so I acknowledged, like, it was a real thing. It happened, and that was me, and that was a situation that happened. I was 19 years old, and and it's hard sometimes to face issues or struggle or hurt or pain head on. So that was the first step, I think, in my healing, was the acknowledgement of this was a reality and it happened. Number two, I addressed the feelings that I had towards it. Man, I had so much unforgiveness towards myself, towards the guy I was with. For a time there, I just felt like it was his fault. Maybe I don't know. Like, I just felt like he was to blame as well, and I was to blame. So I had unforgiveness towards him and unforgiveness towards myself. That built resentment and bitterness. Even towards God, I just felt like, okay, God, yes, I know I'm having sex outside of marriage, and I got pregnant out of wedlock, but how could you let this happen to me? Like, are you out to get me? And so there was so much, like, bitterness towards God, because I felt like he had a hand to play in what happened. Like, he caused it, and he went out of his way to make sure I didn't have a baby at that time. So I was able to really address the feelings I felt towards it. So real and so raw. I wasn't like, I cried about it. I faced the hurt, I faced the pain, which was a difficult process, but it was so necessary, just in the steps to healing. Okay, number three is I shared and I talked about how I was feeling, and just talked about the whole what I was going through with somebody. Now, I've always been this type of person who I like I have to be tough, and I don't want to show weakness or like tell people my problems. There's this saying that people usually say, Ati, don't, when you're having a problem, don't tell anybody because they'll see your weakness. I don't know. So such a lame thing. That's the opposite of what you should do. So I was finally able to talk about it with someone. Guys, talking about issues is such a release, such a relief. It's crazy. So when I opened up, I just found one person, and it doesn't have to be that you're talking about it to many people. There's one person that you'll be able to confide in, somebody who's mature, first of all, who has experience in life and is not just like, I wouldn't advise you to go to probably your niece, like, or somebody like super young, somebody who is able to give sound advice and able to walk you through and encourage you and pray for you and cover you. So I was able to find somebody who I could do that with, and my goodness, that was such a pivotal point as well in the healing process. I was not alone, constantly getting encouragement, constantly praying together. The next thing was I talked to God about it. I prayed about it. Now, a lot of times we don't want, when you're going through issues and let somebody tells you, pray about it, sis, God hears you, and you're just like, bruh, just give me a real solution. Give me real, because I don't want you to pray about it type thing. And I must say I'm guilty of that. A lot of times, like, if I'm going through something or I'm feeling bad about something, my mom will tell me, just pray about it, and I'm like, I don't want to pray. I need a real solution for right now. But the thing is, we don't understand there's so much power in prayer, and we have a Father who loves us and who wants to heal us and who wants to bring restoration and redemption in our lives. The Bible says that Jesus is a friend that sticks closer than a brother. So he's not like somewhere watching like, unapitia pole is a joke. No, he actually is able to sympathize and empathize with us. That's why he was made flesh, so that he's able to empathize and to feel what we are feeling when it comes to hurt and pain and disappointment. You can imagine how much Christ went through in terms of struggle and disappointment. And so we're able to come to him with that boldness of, you've gone through it, you know what I'm feeling. And then he has the power to heal and to cause there to be restoration and redemption. And so I used to talk to God about it and say, this is how I'm feeling, and I want you to cleanse me, like wash. How do I explain? I want it to be like there's a peace that washes over me. There's healing and restoration that takes place in my life. And I really did watch that happen. I really did experience God's healing, on my body. Now I have the 2 scars, right, from where the pipes went in, and they used to be wounds, obviously, but now they're just like the scars. And each time I look at them, I'm reminded not just like of this thing that happened, but the healing that has taken place. On the outside, it's the wound that took place and became the scars, obviously. But it reminds me of the internal healing that took place, that where I was once wounded and feeling hurt and in pain and stuff, Christ was able to, make me feel whole again, make me feel just healed and renewed. And the last step of my healing process was the renewal of hope and expectancy of the future. Sometimes we get so stuck looking at the back because we have no expectancy of the future. We don't have hope for something that is to come. I acknowledge today that soon and very soon, guys, mark my words, soon and very soon, I will carry a baby to full term, and it'll be a joyous thing. So I acknowledge that something has happened, but God has renewed my hope and looking forward to the things that are to come. So I'm now in a place where not only am I healed, but my hope is alive, and I have so much expectancy of redemption and the things that are to come. Yeah, that's just what I had to share today. I hope you have been touched or encouraged or spurred on. Sometimes you might not even be the one who is going through this situation, but it might be somebody who is in your life that is going through struggle, not necessarily an ectopic pregnancy. It could be something else, and you are the person I'm talking about who is in the position to walk alongside them. So I hope even if you're not going through this, whoever is watching, you know of somebody who is going through something, and you're in a position to walk alongside them, to encourage them and give them hope, and tell them that there's always a chance for restoration and healing as well. Yeah, if you have not heard the rest of my story, you can follow me on jesusgirl.ke. I also try and reply to as many DMs as possible, so feel free to reach out in case of anything. I will try and reach out, and if I'm not able to personally walk alongside you, I will point you to people who I know are really awesome and are a great source of covering and encouragement and hope. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, kindly or even if it spoke to you, kindly hit the subscribe button below, and also join the notification gang, so each time I upload a video, you will be in the know and you will be early rather than late. I think that is all for me today. I'll see you guys in my next video. We'll definitely be talking more about heart matters, and I'll be sharing more on my story, because I believe, like, when you go through situations, God has put you at a unique position to be able to help other people. I was just having this talk with my friend the other day, saying that you can't encourage when you haven't gone through. You can't give hope when you haven't been down. You can't, struggle gives you authenticity, and You know, I thank God for the situations that I've passed through in my life, though difficult, because they have put me in a position where I'm able to encourage, where I'm able to cause impact, where I'm able to, give hope to anybody going through anything. So I'll see you guys in my next video. I love you all. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Jesus Girl Gang, we out. Peace.